Now from here, what's great is you now have like a base to start with. And if you have something that's 100% like this, you can now go to the bottom right, see where it says lock. Click on that first box icon right there. It says lock transparent pixels. And once I start doing that, and then I go in and I start painting in, look at that. Like I can go out of the image and it will only paint within that layer. Whatever it is I have in that layer, it will paint. I can create textures, I can do whatever. Boom, right? Everyone's happy. You ain't got to worry so much. Now, another cool thing is maybe you don't want that layer to be so destructive, meaning you want it to be editable. You like the things that you have underneath. You're not really sure what you want on it, but you want to like slowly build it up. Well, what's great about Photoshop is you can create is another layer. So Control Shift N, right? And then if I press Control Alt G, that new layer is now parenting, is now the kid of that layer underneath. So what that means is if I'm painting here, I still stay within the boundary, but whatever it is that I make, I have more control over it without destroying the layer underneath. You see that? I can transform it. I can erase it without destroying what I have underneath. So for example, I have this little black little texture here. Then I can create something else on top. And I can turn that on and off and see if I like it or not. All right, so to recap, to create a new layer, you can use the bottom right to create a new layer, like so. Or you can do Control Shift N. Once you do that, that's a shortcut to create a new layer. And when you do that, keep things 100% opacity on each layer. And this will help you create stronger foreground, midground, and background. You have more control over your values this way, and this is very, very important. Now, you don't want to just paint like this all the time. I usually do this when I'm working on a project or I'm doing client work, but usually when I practice, I don't have everything in one layer. Sometimes I'll just paint everything. I'm sorry, what I meant to say was I don't have everything in separate layers. Sometimes I just paint everything in one just to practice, just to give myself that strict restriction and not rely so much on a clutch like layers all the time, and just see what I can do and what my limits are. And this forces me to create more stronger decisions. And this is also important too. But using layers when you're doing your personal projects, so you have better control over your mid, background, and foreground is super useful. I highly recommend it. So once again, after you guys create the layer, you can lock your layer by using the lock tool right here. You can use that little symbol. Whichever layer that you pick, just click that, lock it, and then whatever you paint underneath, the pigment isn't going to go out of that layer. Turn these off real quick. If you want more control, you can always create a new layer. Once again, Control Shift N, and then press Control Alt G. You now parent the layer underneath. You see that little arrow sign? That little arrow sign is indicating that it's locked to that layer. So whatever I make underneath becomes its own little thing that's within that section. And then if you go crazy and you have all these crazy layers going around and it gets a little confusing, you can always group your layers. So you click on one layer and then you hold Shift key and then click on the other layers like that, and it'll select all of them. And then right here at the bottom, it says create a new group. And when you do that, it'll put everything in that little folder You can expand it out, turn it on and off, see what works for you. You can even name it. I'm gonna name it Yes Lord. Know what I'm saying? Okay, so hope this was helpful, guys. And remember to use all these tools to your advantage. Don't rely on the tool so much. Practice doing things just by hand or on one layer. But when you guys are working like for a client or for a big personal project, layers are super helpful. Get used to these. This will help you immensely, and you're only going to become more valuable when you're doing client work. Anyways, hope this was helpful, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.